What if MLB teams combined to make a super team? Well, that's exactly what I did with the 2023 rosters of the MLB teams. And as long as they were in different leagues, I put them onto their NL counterpart. So now let's get into the standings and I'll introduce the teams. All right, before we get into the standings, here is a map of the MLB teams. And here is a map of the MLB teams when combined. So I removed all the AL teams. Alright, so far, the Braves Minnesota team, the Great Lakes team, and the Padres Astros team are all in first place. And in the All-Star game, the NL team won 8-2. And as you can see, all the NL stats are better than the AL stats by a significant margin. Now, let's fast forward to the end of the regular season. Alright, so the Strangers did end up winning the division, and the Florida Sharks, along with the Freedom Sox, both claimed wildcard spots. However, the Waves weren't unable to hold their division lead, and instead, the Crazy Events, which is the Ohio team, took charge of the division, with the Waves being eliminated. Finally, LA's Imposter ended up claiming the first seed, with the Stars also claiming a wildcard spot. The Sharks got the 4th seed, the Stars got the 5th seed, and the Freedom Sox got the 6th seed. The worst team of the combined teams was the Gigantic Athletes. It wasn't even really close, and that's what happens when you combine 4 players onto a team that didn't even make the playoffs. Now on the AL side, you start to see a lot of horrific records, but the craziest part is that every single wild card had a record below 500. Let's get into the wild card. Alright, so no sweeps happened, but here are the scores, and now let's get into Game 3 in Miami. Alright, so in the second inning, the Florida Sharks took a 2-0 lead, and in the 5th inning, the Stars began to rally with a single from Jeremy Pena, and then back-to-back home runs by Gary Sanchez and Kyle Tucker, which gave the Stars a 3-2 lead. The next inning, John Birdie hit a double to set things up for Luis Arias, but on the first pitch of that at-bat, he hit a check swing blooper for an easy out number 2. Yandy Diaz then was up, but hit a high pop-up to end the inning. Nothing got going in the top of the 6th, but in the bottom, Jazz hit a home run to tie the game back up. In the 8th, Ha-Seong Kim walked, and then Jose Altuve drove him in with a 2-out double. Manny Machado was intentionally walked, and a new pitcher was brought in. Garrett Cooper nearly extended the lead, but in the end, it was going to come down to the pitching. With 2 outs, Randy walked with Luke Raley up to get something going. He then was able to clutch up on the first pitch. Siri was then intentionally walked before a new pitcher was brought in. The fans were on their feet, hoping for their team to take the lead once again, but Hampson hit a weak pop-up to keep the game tied going into the 9th. Juan Soto singled, and Jeremy Pena tried to bunt him across, but both attempts failed miserably, and instead he flew out. Gary Sanchez had already helped his team get back into the game. This time he passed the baton with a 9-pitch walk. Tucker then hit the ball in the perfect position to give his team the lead. Kim then bunted the insurance run across, and the Sharks were not able to get anything going in the bottom of the 9th, and the Stars moved on to the division series. As I said, no sweeps happened, so let's get into Freedom Sox versus Crazy Events in Cincinnati. This game wasn't that close. The Ohio Crazy Events move on with a 5-0 win over the Freedom Sox. The Strangers got off to a 2-0 series lead with Joe Ryan on the mound to try to send them to the championship series. Meanwhile, the other series is tied 1-1. The Strangers took a 2-0 lead in the 4th, and in the 5th, Acuna brought in the runner from second. A walk and a groundout put Harrison Bader on second, but nothing came out of it. Ohio got a solo home run from Tyler Stevenson, but they were still trailing 3-1 in the bottom of the 9th. Jake Fraley got things going in the 9th right away with their walk to start the inning, and Matt McLean came up with the chance to tie the game, but he struck out. But Ohio was not out of it yet due to a game-changing home run from Nick Senzel. 2 pitches later, a screamer was hit into the outfield to walk it off for the Crazy Events. Their championship hopes are still alive. LA's imposter ended up winning Game 3. Fired up to go to the championship series, they managed to score 3 runs in the 3rd inning. But in the bottom of the 4th, the Stars battled back and got all 4 runs needed to take the lead. Mike Trout was up with runners on 1st and 2nd, and just like every example in real life and on this channel, he did not deliver. Mike Trout is not clutch. However, JD Martinez is. Max Muncy hit the ball perfectly to give the imposters the lead again, but Luis Rengifo needed to ensure this game was close. With the runners on 1st and 2nd, Yordan Alvarez proceeded to break the 4th wall and almost perfectly replicated the ALDS moment in 2022. It was pretty crazy. The only problem is he hit it too early in the game, so things weren't quite over yet. Kim managed to hit the dagger to ensure the Stars won. They won 9-5. And back to the other series, Ohio got 1 run in the 1st and 2nd inning. They began to rally again in the bottom of the 5th. 1 run across but left 2 on base. In the 6th, Matt Olson was up with men on 1st and 2nd, but he struck out. Ohio got a solo shot in the bottom of the 7th and 2 runs in the 8th to seal the deal. Shane Bieber also pitched a complete game. Will they complete the reverse sweep? Well, you won't have to wait long to find out because LA's imposter won 16-3 thanks to a 7-run 1st inning. LA's imposter advances to the championship series. Since every combined team is in the NL, the CS is really the World Series. Also, before we go back to the other series, the 6-seeded Angels won 2 rounds before losing to the Rays in the ALCS, who were the 1st seed. Alright, here we go. Game 5, which unfortunately had some recording issues, but it was a crazy game. Let's go over the highlights. After 4 innings, Ohio had a 4-1 lead, but the Strangers started coming back. 4-3 after the 5th, but then 4 runs were scored in the 6th inning. The Strangers scored in the 7th, but it was pretty much over. They started a rally in the bottom of the 9th, but they needed 4 runs to tie with 2 outs. They gave it their all with an RBI from Acuna and Olson, and a 3-run home run by Austin Riley to walk off the series. The Strangers won from the jaws of defeat and are moving on to the World Series, essentially. Unfortunately, the next series wasn't climactic at all. I messed up the recording again, but the last game wasn't close. The winner won the World Series 6-1 after taking a 3-2 series lead. That winner was the Strangers. Congrats to the Braves and Twins fans. Ironically, the Strangers then took a 3-1 series lead in the World Series, which they proceeded to choke, losing to the Rays in Game 7. Despite crushing the AL in the All-Star game and being significantly better in every stat in the first half, it didn't matter. MLB The Show chose chaos with an AL team winning the World Series and the stats evening out in the end. Probably due to trades at the deadline. But hey, sometimes that's just baseball. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. It sure helps a lot. Sorry for the terrible jerseys, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.